Hey, good morning. Mayor Valensky with Driving Markets. Driving while talking about markets. Remember, anything said in this piece is an opinion only. So a few things to talk about today. Number one, you've got the PCE out in the States, personal consumption expenditure. This is the most looked at inflation report by the Fed, and that will give it solid guidance on inflation. Now, if that report comes in higher than expected, you can expect interest rates to rise in March in the US by the Fed at the next FOMC meeting. Okay, those numbers come out 1:30 UK time. Massive number, actually to a degree bigger than the consumer price index and the producer price index. Okay, so the PCE, personal consumption expenditure, massive inflation report, big guidance, and that will see how high interest rates are going to go, if they're going to go in March. Again, if they're coming higher than expected, you expect a 50 basis point rise. Yesterday, markets very volatile, went up, they went all the way down, and then they ended up on the day. Okay, so the Dow was up, the Nasdaq was up, S&P was up, crypto was more or less the same. US 10-year Treasury was slightly down, yield 3.88%. Now, the volatility is due to fears on inflation and obviously rate rises. So rate rises in the States look like it's going to be 25 basis points. Again, it'll be depending on the PCE report out today, but 25 basis point looks like it's already on the cards. If that PCE report comes in worse than expected, they can expect a 50 basis point rise in the US. Remember, in the US, you've got a massive technology sector, which I mentioned yesterday, and that's having a lot of volatility, obviously in the Nasdaq, and the impact on the S&P and obviously on the Dow, where in the UK, the FTSE seems to be absolutely solid and seems to be treading upwards because it's more of a defensive index and more deals with cyclical stocks and or cyclical stocks, depends on how you pronounce it, more than the US stock market. So the UK FTSE could be seen as a defensive index when trading. Okay. Yesterday, you had some of the major companies in the States where the earnings or the outlook came in poorer than expected. And one of them was Domino's Pizzas, for example. You all know Domino's Pizzas. Their outlook and their forecast was pretty rotten, and their shares dropped. In addition to that, you've got Tesla. Now, Tesla have been saying that Tesla's going to drop. Tesla went to $208, $210 earlier last week, and I've been calling for it down. It's down at $200, but I think it's going to go down all the way to $140, especially if inflation and interest rates rise in the near future. To those who are foreign exchange traders, the dollar was slightly strong against the pound and the euro, slightly weaker against the Japanese yen. No particular reason there. I do see the dollar yen rising, as I said, over and over again to 140, 145. Pound is a bit under pressure against the dollar, and so is the euro. The pound will stay under pressure as the fear of interest rates rise in the US, and there's no fear of interest rates rising in the UK because Andrew Bailey, head of the MPC, has stated clearly that he doesn't see interest rates rising in the UK. Massive mistake. They need to raise interest rates a lot further to get inflation under control. Jamie Dimon of JP Morgan said that the Fed still does not have a grasp on inflation, indicating they need to raise rates a lot further. Now, the Fed has been well behind the inflation curve from the beginning of last year and is still behind. They probably need to raise rates by another 1.5% or 150 basis points to start getting inflation under control. If they don't do that, then inflation is going to stay at the 6.5-7% level minimum. Going north of that, I think it's going to go to 8-9% in June. A lot of viewers and a lot of commentators come back saying absolutely no way, not in a million years, they're not going to raise rates. It's most unpopular. It is unpopular, but a central bank is not based on populist opinion. Central bank is based on where the economy is going at. It doesn't look at popular opinion, and the hardship it causes by raising interest rates is on mortgages, loan owners, homeowners, businesses, etc., etc. That's more or less it from driving markets at the moment. There's one little point which is mentioned regarding FTX, which is interesting. Sam Bankman Fried, also known as SBF, has been added another 4 charges of bank fraud added to his list. And Carlone Ellison and Gary Wang, who are the co-conspirators and have turned state witness, and what they're going to do is testify against him. You talk about loyalty, you talk about stab in the back. Carlone Ellison and Gary Wang were party to all this fraud at FTX, the crypto exchange that went bust in November. And it's just absolutely crazy. They also should stand trial, but I don't know if they are. Anyhow, this is Mayor Walensky with Driving Markets. Share with friends, subscribe, comment. More than happy to hear from you. Have a good day.